Thank you. My name is Nida Liftawiya, and my life's biggest honor is being Palestinian. In the beginning of all of this, a lot of memories were coming back to me from my childhood in Palestine. We lived there during 2 of the Zionist wars on Palestinians, and I couldn't imagine 8 and 6-year-olds doing tasks that we were doing during that time, and yet here we are watching babies now, children becoming caretakers and food gatherers, grave diggers. For the children in Palestine and other war-torn nations, we learn differently. Everything is the same and yet is different. And for us, this is how love looked like. Hey, من المية للمية. Hey, فلسطين حرية. Refugee kids playing in front of the house, dust everywhere, scrappy clothes, barefoot cousins. Imagine the screams sharply stop our play as we watch in horror a veiled mother running barefoot after an Israeli jeep, yelling, "Waqfu, waqfu, walad صغير." Stop, stop, he's a little boy. Imagine the jeep stops and she's able to hold on to it, only for them to keep driving and drag her along with them, all the while wailing for her son. That is what love looked like. Hey, من المية للمية. Military curfew, we can't go outside, can't go outside, can't go outside. Palestinian, we, with broken non-brand crayons, we color Palestinian flags on white lined notebook paper. Imagine, our notebook paper flags are done and we check if the coast is clear. I sneak downstairs and run to the sidewalk, hurriedly staple the flag onto the wooden pole and run back in for safety. Imagine a while later through our window, we watch Israeli soldiers walk down our street. One stops, takes out a cigarette, lights and inhales, and then sets our flag on fire. Hot, angry tears well up in my little eyes as I look down to my brother who has already started coloring the next flag. Love looked like this. Hey, من المية للمية. On a quiet day in Mukhayyam Shafat refugee camp, peaceful and sweet, with warm aromas of my grandmother's cooking, my uncle working outside, my cousins and I watching TV. Too soon, the tear gas stabs through the sweetness of the day. Instinctively, my grandmother, cousins, and I run to close all the windows, and too late, we realize the canister is inside the house. Out of nowhere, my uncle appears, opens a window, grabs my cousins and I, and hanging from his neck, his arm, and his back, he held us outside the window so we can breathe, and my grandmother held onto his waist to root us down. Love looked like this. Hey, من المية للمية. My father was a free-born Palestinian man who died occupied. Imagine I must have been 8 or 9 when my father took me in his blue Peugeot pickup truck. He spoke about his mother on this ride, saying she would have loved me if she was still on this side. He parked off a side of a cliff with stunning views of a village, frozen stiff, and said, "Yalla, let's go and look at this." He pointed and said, "Right there, that's where I was born. That house, right there, that house is yours." And handed a metal key, the key that will be used when we return home free. Love looked like this. Hey, min al-maya lal-maya. Kids sneak out of school with rocks in their pockets to join the older kids in defense of our country. Imagine 15-year-old me screaming as the rocks leave my hand towards the tank ahead, never knowing if it even reached, knowing that was all I had left. The colonial occupation shooting rubber-coated steel bullets at us, and my classmate Muhammad, the one with the green hazel eyes, pushed me to the ground and lay his body atop mine. And then I felt the vibration of every rubber-coated steel bullet that hit his body. Love looked like this. Hey, min al-maya lal-maya. A 6-year-old is typically old enough to walk to the neighborhood bakery in Palestine. Imagine the baker asks 6-year-old me, "What's your name?" And I proudly say, "Nida." He asks, "Are you from the Christian or Muslim family?" And I just didn't know. The men in the bakery laughed wholeheartedly, and I returned home with tears welling up in my eyes. As I recounted the tale to my father, he held me gently, then said, "If anyone ever asks you that again, you say, 'I am Palestinian.'" Love looked like this. Hey, from the river to the sea. Hey, Palestine will be free.